Welcome to this edition of Dufferin Life. I'm your host, Tina Avery, and I am uber excited today. This lovely lady standing beside me, I've been trying to get her on the show to give us some of her amazing secrets in the kitchen. Terry Doel, chef for Lavender Blue and Le Fini. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
I'm thrilled. I am. She knows I've been trying a long time. She's a very, very busy lady. So we're going to talk about some fun things that we can make that are fairly quick to make over the holidays. So for hors d'oeuvres or people are just dropping by, you know, those types of things, right?
Yes, yeah.
All right, so what are we going to start with?
Well, I thought what we would do is put together a little grazing board, and I put together some quick hors d'oeuvre ideas because I know everybody's time is sort of limited.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So things that you can just grab in the grocery store and put together, and you're not just opening in a box, and your friends will be super excited that you actually made something.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for that. I love to just kind of like surprise people and go, look what I made. And then they don't know that you spent 4 hours in the kitchen sweating, pouring sweat just to make something little. For sure. Okay, so what's the first thing we're going to talk about?
So this one is actually, we'll do a deep fried ravioli.
Okay.
So you can just pick up a large ravioli at your grocery store.
Okay.
Fresh. Frozen will work as well, but fresh pasta is always much more delicious.
Do you make your own pasta?
Sometimes we do, yes. And it can be stuffed with whatever you feel, like just cheeses or cheese and meat or whatever the ravioli. I just thought I would make it simple because the home cook doesn't necessarily make their own ravioli.
This is right. This is very true. This is so true. This is so not me. So what is this one stuffed with?
This one is ricotta and spinach.
Okay.
So what we have here is our breading station.
Okay.
This would be a technique you would use to bread anything. So if you were doing a deep fried pickle or you wanted to bread a chicken breast or anything like that, this is a typical way that you would do that. So this one here is just all-purpose flour. Just has salt and pepper in it.
Okay.
And then this is egg wash. So it's basically just a beaten egg with a little bit of water just to loosen it up a bit.
Okay.
And these are our breadcrumbs. I have seasoned these ones with a little bit of Parmesan just to elevate that cheese factor in our ravioli.
No.
So basically when you're having a breading station, you'll want to keep one hand in your dry ingredients and one hand in your wet.
Okay.
And then you don't bread your fingers that way.
I have already learned 2 new things.
All right. So you're just going to put your item in your flour. And you want to shake off any excess flour. So that when you put it into your egg wash, it doesn't come off in there and then you have a blank spot that won't hold the breading.
Okay.
So you can do a few at a time in here. You can put them in, shake them up, and then your excess off.
See, I so don't bread like this. Like I'm honestly, I'm not even going to tell you or anybody out there.
So then I'm going to use my wet ingredient hand and just get all that coated in the egg.
And that doesn't take the flour away?
And it doesn't take the flour away. What happens is the flour sticks to your sort of wet pastry, and then your egg now sticks to the flour.
Okay.
And then it's going to go into your dry. And then see if you see something like this, that flour bit's going to come off, so you'll just want to make sure that gets nice and moistened from the
egg wash?
From the egg wash, yes.
Yeah.
All right, and then you go into your dry.
Okay.
And then you'll want to use back to your dry hand, so you're not breading your fingers. And then you will have this delicious coated ravioli.
Nice.
And then what happens at this point is you can put these in your fryer.
Okay.
Or if you have an air fryer at home.
Ooh, I love my air fryer.
You can put a little bit of oil in a frying pan and just turn them.
Okay.
And you just want to do them till they're golden brown because it really just takes a few minutes for them to cook through.
Okay.
And then once they're golden, they're going to look like this once they've been in your fryer, your air fryer, however you're doing them. And that's that. And you'll want to serve that with a little bit of red sauce, maybe a marinara, your favorite if you want to make it, or a jarred kind from the store.
Okay. And you're going to get to see the board when it's all done. I promise you. I promise you. Because there's so many items on it, I'm just not going to let you, I'm not going to give the secret away. So are there, like, what other things? Like, I mean, I bread things, and I don't, you know, back in the day when I first got married, it was like a shake and bake thing. You would just, like, buy your chicken or whatever, and you shake. Yeah, I don't do that anymore, at least. But so I've never seen it like a breading station like that.
So that process, what happens is, if you've ever had shake and bake, you'll have air pockets and the breading's not stuck really to your chicken.
Okay.
And it comes off. This is sort of like a gluing method, basically.
Yeah,
so
no, that's
every one of
very
those
cool.
is creating a layer that's sealing in all the deliciousness.
Yeah, so what I started doing was just taking like breadcrumbs and then just adding different spices that I really, really like versus just having a breading on it. And oh my gosh, like you can come up with so many different things, and you're eating a different meal all the time because of the taste of the spices that are going in it.
Yeah, if you want to do anything, if you were breading a chicken breast and you want to make chicken parmesan, super easy. You would use the same method. Put some parmesan and some fresh herbs or something into your final breadcrumb stage. And then you could just serve it again with your favorite marinara. Put some cheese on top of it, some more Parmesan, some mozzarella, delicious.
So here's my question. So when you put Parmesan in something like that and you're baking it, like the cheese, because I always know like certain things with the cheese, it can burn or it can, the texture of the cheese changes. So when you're breading with like a Parmesan cheese, nothing like that?
Sure, if you use a grated Parmesan, then it's a little more forgiving than a shredded Parmesan.
Okay.
Then you don't get that stringiness and little bits sticking out. It sort of blends in with the crumbs.
All right, where are we going next?
Next, our next thing on our board is super easy, and it's so fast. You can make this for a large group or a small group. So what you can do is take a piece of prosciutto, and then you're going to want to cover it with a little bit of your favorite soft cheese. So that can be an herb cream cheese, a garlic and herb cheese spread from the grocery store, a Boursin cheese.
Okay.
This one we make in our kitchen at Lavender Blue. It's just cream cheese, green onions, fresh dill, all the fresh herbs sort of elevate that from, even if you were purchasing a grocery store one, you could add some fresh herbs into it.
Right, because I mean, you're not always tied to what you buy from the store. You can expand. Like I find that when I'm doing a recipe, if you've made it once, then you're like, you know what might be good in this, and then you start to add.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so you're going to take your asparagus. When you have asparagus, it tends to be a little woody and dry on the end, so you just want to snap that end off so it's nice and fresh and nobody has asparagus strings stuck in their teeth.
That would be me.
So you're just going to take your piece of prosciutto and you're just going to roll it around this asparagus. And not too tightly, because what you want to do is what happens when it cooks is your asparagus, all the juices will come out of it and it'll expand a little bit. So you don't want to wrap it super tight or it'll just burst on you.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we'll just do another one. Let's see that again.
Good tips to know.
And then with this, you're just going to put it in like a 350-degree oven, and you're going to want to do that for about 10 or 12 minutes, just until the prosciutto is a little bit crispy. And you'll find that as soon as this is crispy, your asparagus is completely cooked.
Okay. So you don't add anything to the asparagus itself, like you don't?
No, not at all. And the nice thing about this one is it can be eaten at room temperature or warm from the oven.
And I will tell everybody out there that I have had this several times before. And I've always bugged Terry going, when I make it, it doesn't taste the same. So, you know, and I think I know what it is. It's the fresh herbs. Like when you said dill, I was like, oh, that's what that is. Yeah.
And the love.
Oh, I don't cook with love. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So you're just putting it in the oven. Now, is that something that you can do in a toaster oven? Like, I'm just thinking people who may not.
Yeah,
have
so you
access?
just want to put it on an oven-safe tray, obviously. Ceramic, metal, it doesn't really matter. If you put a little bit of parchment paper or tinfoil down on that, it'll be easier for you to remove, and your cleanup will be easy peasy.
Okay, asparagus is one of my favorite vegetables. So I just wanted to so we're gonna take a break from this for just a second because we're gonna talk about vegetables. Vegetables should be crisp. No, when you eat them, they shouldn't be soft. Or is it a matter of
It's a preference thing for sure. I do like to have my vegetables with a little bit of toothiness, or al dente, as they say. So yeah, you'll just want to take it out. The trick is to remember that vegetables will continue cooking. Anything will continue cooking a little bit after you take it off the heat. So
Okay.
take it out when it's still just a little bit not quite what you would, and then by the time you add your butter and keep it warm to go with the rest of your dishes, that'll probably just be just perfect.
And that's my challenge. My challenge is when you're cooking something like a Christmas dinner or something, you've got so many things on the go, and then, you know, you have limited space. You don't have maybe as big of a kitchen as what Terry has, but you've got that. It's a timing factor too, right? Like you want everything to be on the table, hot, warm, ready to eat. Yeah.
The trick with that, I think, is knowing what can hold its heat a little bit longer. So when you're finished cooking your meat, most meats want to rest anyways for a few minutes. So you're going to put it aside on a cutting board, tent some tin foil over the top of it, and just let it relax.
Right.
While you're finishing up other things. By the time, say, your turkey is out of the oven and it's resting, you can be using your oven to hold things just on a lower temperature. So your carrots are done, you're just going to put them in the serving dish. And even shutting your oven off, it's just holding while you're getting the last few things together.
Right, yeah. Like I said, I just find that's the most challenging because you've got a couple of vegetables going and potatoes, and we like turnips, so oh my gosh, we have to have turnips. And then from there, you know, we don't just do turkey, we do ham as well. So there's the timing of everything, and then we have tortillere because my parents used to make the best tortilla ever, so my sister and I attempt to do that now. Or she does. She does. She's a tortilla maker, but yeah, it's always that timing of things. And what I find, and I've learned over the years, like you learn as you go. You know, if you're not a chef, you have to learn as you go. But like with the vegetables, like 'cause everyone's always talking about steaming vegetables and do this, and I always found that if you're not very, very careful, they would always get so mushy so fast. And
Right.
last thing I want is mushy asparagus.
Yes, yes. And knowing that asparagus really only takes 2 minutes or so to cook, whether you're boiling it or steaming it, everything else really can be ready, and you can pop it in the pot, and by the time you've taken everything else to the table or whatever, it's finished. So things like asparagus, yeah, they're pretty quick, so you can just put
And
it at
let's
the
talk,
very
well,
end.
we only got a minute left, so we're going to save the next two delicious treats for you to learn about until after the break. But we've got about a minute left. So when it comes to meat resting, how long should meat rest?
It would depend on the size of your meat. A steak or something is only going to want to rest like 3 or 5 minutes because you don't want it to completely cool off. Whereas a bigger roast could rest up to 15 or 20 minutes while all the juices relax. If you cut into any larger piece of meat too quickly, what happens is all your juices run out, and then you lose all the delicious love that you've just put into it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And don't you go anywhere. We will be right back with more deliciousness. So we're just going to sit here. Welcome back to Dufferin Life. I'm your host, Tina Avery. If you're just tuning in, then you've missed two spectacular mini easy to make recipes, but we're going to go back into some more deliciousness. As I promised, Terry Doel from Lavender Blue and Lafini, we're making quick and easy to make hors d'oeuvres. What's next?
Yes, so this one we're going to do is a stuffed mushroom.
Okay.
It is one of my favorites for sure. You can get some crab meat. It can be canned crab meat. They have a pasteurized crab meat in the fish section. So you'll want some cooked crab meat. And it has a little bit of cream cheese, some Parmesan, and again, some fresh herbs, some green onion and some dill. And you're just gonna, once your cream cheese is softened, you're going to just mix all this up together.
Okay. Can you tilt that for our?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
perfect. I'm going to do this just because I want everyone to see what you're doing. I'm going to hold it, and then you get to, yeah.
All right, so we're just gonna mix this through and try to be a little bit gentle so you still have some of those crab pieces. So I'm just pressing the cream cheese against the side of the bowl and trying not to pulverize
To smush
that
it, as I
crab,
put it,
yes.
yeah. We're not,
So we still have some nice big crab pieces in there.
okay.
And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your mushroom. You just pop out the mushroom stem, sorry.
Okay.
And you can take a damp paper towel and just wipe those mushrooms off to
Okay.
get any dirt or residue that's on there. And then you're going to want to make this jam-packed with love. So nice and high. Make sure you press it in the center so it goes down into the cavity. And then you can mountain that up. What happens here, I've taken a piece of tin foil because these mushrooms are going to want to rock and round on you.
Okay.
So if you just slightly crinkle up a piece of tin foil, it'll hold them nice and solid and then they won't tip over on you.
Okay.
So we'll stuff all our mushrooms.
I stole one from you.
Caught you, it's fine. So as you can see, this is really easy too. I mean, I know I pre-measured all the ingredients, but it's a block of cream cheese and a container of crab and chopping a few herbs, and it's actually quite quick.
And Terry's going to be very gracious and let me know what she's done for all of the recipes today. And we will post them on our Facebook page. So check out Dufferin Life on Facebook and you'll be able to give me a day or two and I'll get those posted for you.
So once you have all your mushrooms stuffed, this is a little bit of panko breadcrumbs.
Okay.
And a little bit of melted butter. And you can just sprinkle that on top and it will give your mushrooms a nice crunch once they come out.
Oh, what's the difference between a panko crumb and a regular breadcrumb?
Regular breadcrumbs are boring. Panko just maintains its crispness.
Okay.
It's made with a panko loaf of bread, so it's different completely than our soft, spongy bread that we normally make our breadcrumbs out of.
Awesome.
All right, and then when you're done this, when you're ready, you can put them in your fridge until you're ready to cook them right before your guests come. And they're going to take about 18, maybe 20 minutes in a 375 degree oven.
Okay.
And then they're going to come out of your oven all golden brown and delicious.
They do. They look and they smell absolutely delicious. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, and this is, I mean, we're going off a little bit off topic here, but this is more for me than anybody else, I think. So if you were stuffing like a portobello mushroom, now, when you're doing that, because it has quite the different texture on the top to like a regular white mushroom, like, do you take away any of it, or you just you do the same thing and you pop the top?
It's a preference thing. Sometimes people will scrape out the gills that are on the inside. So it's sort of the ribs inside the mushroom. Really, that's aesthetic. It's not.
Okay.
You don't even notice it once the mushroom's cooked.
Okay.
Typically, I do make sure all my ingredients are cooked when I'm stuffing into a mushroom.
Okay.
So if I'm putting vegetables or quinoa or rice or
Okay.
what have you, I'll make that and season it.
Okay.
So that you know it's delicious, because why guess, season everything as you're going along. And then stuff it in, and then you can roast the whole thing, and all the juices from the mushroom will add into that flavor as well.
And it can be challenging too, and I say this because one time this happened to me. My portobello mushrooms went flat. Like they were almost flat when it came out, because I guess they were a little bit more challenging size-wise, so that's just because I cut too close, like they just kind of went flat.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas the white mushrooms, you're just saying pop off the stem.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And same with the portobello, you're going to want to take the stem out.
Yeah. Okay. And I learned that they're called gills. Because I was just like, the stuff in the portobello mushroom.
I might have made that up.
For
No,
sure.
I'm just kidding.
All right. What are we going up to next?
So this next one, also a quick quick one. This is a date. The most delicious dates I find are medjool dates.
Okay.
So you can get them again at your grocery store. You're going to want to take this date and just break it open.
Okay.
And inside it has a little pit. So you'll just take that out and discard it.
Okay.
And we're going to stuff this today with blue cheese.
Okay.
It is one of our favorites at the kitchen. So just a little bit of knob of blue cheese. Also, if you don't like blue cheese, goat cheese is delicious in this as well.
I find blue cheese is nice in small increments.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can be very overpowering.
And with the sweetness of the date, it makes the blue cheese not seem so strong when you're doing this particular one. So then, yeah, you're going to take your dates and put your cheese inside, whatever kind you have chosen. And then you're going to take a half a slice of bacon.
Oh, anything with bacon is delicious.
So good. And then you're going to roll this up. So if you create yourself an assembly line, you can take the pits out of all your dates and then stuff your cheese in, and then you'll have them all done in no time. It is really quite quick. I'm just going to use a toothpick to secure that bacon so it doesn't unroll when we're baking it in the oven. Show you another one there. Roll it up, skewer. And again, these are only going to take about 12 minutes in the oven. They are delicious at room temperature as well. So I've given us a few things so you're not trying to heat everything up at the last second, that you can mix onto your trays.
Wonderful. So we've got something else here, which I'm going to move closer to you.
So in the end, I'll just show you the whole thing.
Yep.
So what you can do here is everybody has, I think, in their home, a charcuterie board because it is the hot thing right now.
It is.
It's also fun to use your charcuterie boards for more than just cheese and meats.
Right.
And if you're like me, you have 3 or 4 of them.
And if you're like me, you knock half of it off trying to show everybody what we're doing.
So I think it's a really great display on your table if you do your cheese and charcuterie board, and then choose a second board if you have more than one, or your platter if you don't have one is perfectly fine. So what I have here, so this is our mushrooms that we've done, and our asparagus that we can eat at room temperature.
Okay.
Our ravioli, you can do these ahead and then just pop them in your oven for like 10 minutes just to warm them up right before your guests come.
Okay.
Our dates. And I've put a little bit of crudités on there, which is just raw vegetables. And then I'm going to add this bowl, just so that you have a full rounded grazing station here.
And if you don't have a charcuterie board, not to cut you off, because I mean, you could use like a cutting board. Like, I mean, it's pretty much covered, right, for the most part, or
and you can
any
use,
fancy
if you
tray.
have a big platter. If it's not your turkey dinner, you could use your turkey platter. Or once you're putting things together in playful patterns like that, it
doesn't
makes
matter.
a picture itself.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So in this bowl, I just thought it would be fun to do a little whipped goat cheese.
Oh, okay.
So this is a tube of goat cheese.
Okay.
It has a little bit of plain yogurt, some milk to thin it down, and the juice of 1 lemon. So what I've done is use my hand mixer. You can do it by hand. You just have to stir it for a little bit longer, because what you want to do is get lots of nice air in there, so it's nice and creamy and delicious. And this is whipped goat cheese.
Okay.
So you can just put it right in your dish. And then I think it's fun to drizzle this. Oh, I'm out of spoon. Just going to drizzle this.
Oh, there you go. See, there's something
Use this carrot. It's all good.
Carrots are good for more than one thing.
Improvising.
Absolutely.
Always. So we're going to want to drizzle some honey on this. And it's a little cold on my journey today, so my honey is not quite as warm as I would like it. But you get the idea. So just a swirl of honey on there. And then here I have some dried fruit. So I have, today I've chose a few apricots.
Oh, delicious.
Dried cranberries, golden raisins. And you're just going to sprinkle that on the top.
Oh my gosh. I love apricots and cranberries. They are delicious.
And then I'm just going to top this with a few sugared pecans.
And you can buy pecans that are already sugared, can you not?
That's
Or do
such a great question. I would imagine you can.
how do you sugar a nut? And we're not talking about me.
There's several ways you could do it. Basically, you could put a little bit of brown sugar in a frying pan, and you'll just want to add a sploosh of water.
Okay.
And you're going to let that cook out until it's liquid and not grainy anymore. And so on a medium heat, that's going to take 5 minutes or so, depending on if you put
Okay.
a lot of sugar in there. And then you're going to take your nuts and just basically coat them.
Okay.
And then turn them out onto a frying pan or something else. And then you can, when they're cool, just break them up. And they're all sugared and delicious.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. So this dip is just eaten at room temperature because it's whipped. So
Okay.
it's easy to scoop and serve. And again, it could be served with the crudités, crackers, baguette.
Amazing. These are I'm just, you know what, I stopped talking. Why? Because I'm staring at the food thinking, oh my goodness, this looks absolutely delicious. So we've got about a minute left, and we're going to just do a quick, I'm going to ask you one quick question on the spot about stuffing a turkey. Is there something special that you put in your turkey stuffing?
Our turkey stuffing, we do apples and dried cranberries. I love the different textures of having the sweet fruit. We put celery, carrots, onions, which is fairly typical. So I love the combination of all those sweet and savory things together. And some sage and salt and pepper and some chicken stock or turkey stock just
Awesome.
to pull it all together.
Terry, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all this great
Oh, it was
information.
my pleasure. Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us. Until next time, bye-bye for now.